Well, I'm back. A little late, but yeah, had to game a little, break my, get my food down, get my energy back, and get ready to attack a little bit more, get a little bit further. I do, like I said, I would like to start working on my website, reverse engineering it. I'll show you. I don't know if you've seen it before. You could probably browse to it now. ActiveMindsGames.com. That is not my current website. If you want to buy product, go to AM Games Direct. I will be redirecting Active Minds Games to AM Games Direct until we get new product in. Right now, we're using AM Games Direct for our current supply of stock, which is we're running low. We're down to a few mage cages, or a few X cases, and then we have mage cages, and we also have most of the inserts, magnets, magnetic inserts, that kind of thing, for the miniatures to go inside of the cases. But that said, we being so low on stock, that means our orders are considerably down, and we wanted to pick something that was a little bit more financially feasible to keep going at this point. So right now, we're not using our Active Minds Games website, but we will be switching back or rerouting back, perhaps after I've got it updated and we've got new product coming in. We're not there yet, though. Still trying to figure out the most financially feasible way to make that switch back. But anyway, here we go. So far, we've completed functions. Now they're getting into triggers. That's what these next things are. Again, this is a Coursera one. I don't know. This is like the 4th or 5th module in the thing. There's quite a bit more to go.
Hello. In this lesson, you will learn how to execute an Azure function with triggers. A trigger is responsible for executing an Azure function, and there are dozens of triggers to choose from. This lesson will show you some of the most common
I
types
should
of triggers
probably.
and how to configure them to execute your logic. Now, imagine a scenario where a busy hair salon has a recurring problem. Their customers commonly miss their appointments.
I am not a big fan of the lecture process.
If a customer misses an appointment, the salon loses money. To fix this problem, the salon reaches
So they talk a lot about building a scenario and then what you can do in that scenario, right?
as soon as the appointment is scheduled or changed, and each morning you send a text message to every customer. You need to create a service that can be easily scheduled, updated, and scaled. You decide to solve this problem using the Azure Functions app. You already know how to implement logic to send a text message.
So I've created an Azure Functions app. I did not delete it. They do recommend kind of keeping your stuff clean, especially if you're, using a regular site. So anything you build might incur costs, but hopefully I won't hit any of those because I have free trial stuff going.
Create an HTTP trigger to invoke a function when a HTTP request is received. And create a blob trigger to invoke a function when a blob is created or updated in Azure Storage.
So basically we're just talking about how we're going to be creating a trigger that when we set an HTTP trigger in, we're going to trigger it with an HTTP request. And then we will be using our function app to do that. The trigger will then trigger a function.
An Azure Functions app doesn't do work until something tells it to execute. For example, we could create an Azure function to send out a reminder text message to our customers before an appointment. If we don't tell the function when it should run, our customers will never receive the message. Now you will examine triggers at a high level and explore the most common types of triggers. But first, let's look at what exactly is a trigger. A trigger is an object that defines how an Azure function is invoked. For example, if you want a function to execute every 10 minutes, you could use a timer trigger. Every function must have exactly one trigger associated with it. If you want to execute a piece of logic that runs under multiple conditions, you need to create multiple functions that share the same core function. Azure functions support a wide range of trigger types. Here are some of the most common types. Timer, which executes a function at a set time.
So they're basically going over that we have different kinds of triggers: timers, HTTP, and blob, which is basically you put up an image or you do something with an image.
Blob storage. Queue, which executes a function when a message is added to an Azure storage queue. Azure Cosmos DB, which executes a function when a document changes in a collection. Event Hub, which executes a function when Event Hub receives a new event. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the timer HTTP. In this lesson, new event. In this lesson, we're going to document changes in a collection. Event Hub, which executes a function.
Okay, so there are 6 types of function triggers. There's a timer, HTTP, a blob, a queue, which you can actually put like a message into a queue table. What I've actually created something like this at my last project, where I was working on, we were trying to activate reports. Now we had to activate them we're using SSRS. So I had a system that when batch would run, batch would finish certain jobs that reports are dependent on. So then it would say, okay, these jobs are done, and then the application would then take all the reports that are dependent on that job and put them in a queue. Now the reason it did a queue, it used to connect straight to SSRS and run, and instead now it creates a command for SSRS, and it feed that command into a queue, a table, a task table is what it was, and then essentially SQL would then have its SQL agent would go through and read those items out of the queue and then execute those commands straight in SSRS. And the reason we had to do that is because there were permission things going on. We had to use a utility in SQL Server that was not the most secure. So we wanted to take that away from the users who would be able to run the application, because they could then just run one of the commands and it would use that utility, and it would essentially be high security. It means everybody who could run stuff in this app could theoretically run that utility, and it wasn't considered very safe. So we said, well, let's do this. If they want to run reports, they want to do stuff, they can run these commands, but instead of it running that utility, it would just throw these reports or these commands into this queue, and the SQL agent would pick them up, and as its own agent, it would run those things, and only SQL agent would have permission to run those permissions or run those tasks. Was it better? I mean, you're still giving them the ability to run them. They just stuck them in the queue table and let SQL agent run them for them, which had the permissions. But it did make things set up a lot easier. For one, anybody who had rights to the system could request these queue items to run. But you didn't have to give them access to this. They didn't have to have admin permissions, but they also didn't have to have access to this utility, which was SQL exec something or other. It would run a SQL command line. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the name exactly. But that tool had all kinds of power. So if you gave people permission or power to run that, they could do a lot of things. Well, you take that away from them. Now only SQL agent can do stuff, and now you have to put it in this queue, and the queue only takes certain commands. So you wouldn't be able to run everything because it wouldn't know how. You'd have to be able to figure out how to use the queue to tell it to run something, and it would only run what it could. And it did not use the command line function. So they were able to disable the SQL command function that they didn't want to use. So more efficient, apparently more secure. That's why we did it. But it's the same basic premise. You're going to do a queue. Throw these things into the queue. I'm thinking right now in my mind, an order goes into the queue. Several things would happen. One, it would send an SMS notification to me, right? Send to me or whoever's going to fulfill that order. Say, hey, got an order. Let them know. Maybe if we actually got pretty good at it, we could set it up to maybe prepare a shipping label or something like that. Yeah, it might be tough because you have to use third-party tools and all this other stuff. But it might be able to notify you, or maybe every time you put a thing in there, you say what kind of item is in the queue. Maybe when you fulfill it, it sends another notice into the SMS queue, and instead of sending it to you, it sends it to the customer saying, hey, your order's been fulfilled, and here's the shipping label number, something like that. So you could use that queue to trigger functions that would do certain things, maybe send out an SMS. There's an Azure Cosmos database. Now, I'm not sure what that is. It might be in the same vein as a queue, in that something changes in the Cosmos database. maybe a particular table, maybe a particular piece of data changes, you would get a function that would fire. Maybe it's something along the lines of a function recalculates, your inventory or something. I don't know. Event Hub. Event Hub is a little bit different. We're not focusing on that. I believe that's just where you can have a lot of different stuff happening, and they go in and out. Multiple events can trigger, and it's like a big event engine. And we were using that at my other company. Actually, they were, but then they bagged out on it because I don't know if it got too complicated or they decided it wasn't important enough or whatever. Throw a few $1 million into something and they go, yeah, don't need it.
Blog trigger types. Now that we have introduced triggers, let's take a look at bindings. A binding is a connection to data within your function. Bindings are optional and come in the form of input and output bindings. An input binding is the data that your function receives. An output binding is the data that your function sends.
I should probably take some notes, when you're doing this stuff. It's probably important to actually have some amount of data written down here. So let me see which of the types of triggers, which of the following are types of triggers. Choose all. Let's see, we got timer, HTTP, blob, and blob. Input binding is something different, but yeah,
Next, we'll explore how to create a function on a schedule using a timer trigger.
so we're going to do timer triggers. That's the focus of this particular trigger thing. We may do other triggers later, but right now, timers are the easiest, right? Run one every 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It is more videos though.
It's common to execute a piece of logic at a set interval. Imagine you're a blog owner and you notice that your subscribers aren't reading your most recent posts. You decide that the best action is to send an email once a week to remind them to check your blog. You implement this logic using an Azure function app with a timer trigger to invoke your function weekly. A timer trigger is a trigger
Well, that was
at
worthless.
a consistent interval. To create a timer trigger, you need to supply two pieces of information. A timestamp parameter name, which is simply an identifier to access the trigger.
So timer triggers need a timestamp, surprise, and a schedule when.
Interval for the timer. Let's look at cron expressions now. A cron expression is a string that consists of 6 fields that represent a set of times.
Huh, I didn't know that. Cron expression. New piece of learning just in general. Never heard of a cron expression. Let's see, general. Let's put a new page in here. We'll call it general notes. These are probably good things to know. If you don't know, I mean, it makes sense, right? Chronology, cron expression is a set of fields that represent a period I gotta laugh at myself. I said I can't type.
The order of the 6 fields in Azure is second, minute, hour, day, month, and day of the week. For example, you could create a cron expression to create a trigger that executes every 5 minutes. To create a cron expression, hour, day, month, and day. The week. For example,
This is the boring stuff. It's not hands-on, sorry.
5 minutes.
And this is a lot. There is an exercise coming up after this. This is only a 3-minute segment.
Special characters. Let's take a look at them now. An asterisk selects every value in a field. For example, an asterisk in the day of the week field means every day. A comma separates items in a list. For example, 1, 3 in the field of the week field means just Mondays, day 1, and Wednesdays, day 3. A hyphen specifies a range. For example, 10-12 in the hour field means a range that includes the hours 10, 11, and 12. Finally, a slash specifies an increment. For example, asterisk /10 in the minutes field means an increment of every 10 minutes. Let's revisit our example of a cron expression to create asterisk /10 in the...
Okay, so this is kind of good information. So if you're building a cron expression, which you use this to do like schedules, right? So you're going to build a cron expression that states what you're going to be doing with your schedule, right? So an asterisk in the minute expression would say, you know, any time, any minute, you know, that kind of thing. So it'd be 59 seconds, whatever minute, and then the hour. 1 to 3 could be, you know, 1 and 3 o'clock hours. Maybe you're only doing it the 1 and 3 o'clock hours. Or days, you know, the 10th through 12th days of the month. That's a slash. It's through. It's inclusive of everything in the middle. And then this is a increments. So if you do */10, it's every 10 minutes.
The minutes field means an increment of every 10 minutes. Let's revisit our example of a cron expression to create a trigger that executes every 5 minutes. There are 6 fields that we have to pay attention to. The first field represents seconds. This field supports the values 0 to 59. Because the field contains a 0, it selects the first possible value, which is 1 second. The second field represents minutes. The value asterisk /5 contains 2 special characters. First, the asterisk, which means select every value within the field. Because this field represents minutes, the possible values are 0 to 59. The second special character is the slash, which represents an increment. When you combine these characters together, it means for all values 0 to 59, select every 5th value. An easier way to say that is simply every 5 minutes. The remaining 4 fields represent the hour, day, month, and weekday of the week. An asterisk for these fields means to select every possible value.
Okay, so this is kind of an example of a cron expression. This is an every 5 minutes example. Would not have guessed what this is, but now if you actually are putting the schedule into something, what this is basically saying is the seconds field, you're going to choose, you know, 1 second to be the first value. Now here you got star, so you got increment of 10, and the slash means all of the star means all of them. So if you've got in the minute field, it's every of 59 minutes. You're going to go increments of 5, so every 5 minutes, right? And then weekdays, you don't care. You don't care about the month, day, and year. You're just going to be all of them. Every single possible thing that comes up here is valid. So you're getting the slash increments of 5 is essentially what you're doing in that middle spot here. It's kind of a weird thing because it means all of the time divided by 5 is really what's happening there. So if you put a interval of, you know, in days, all of the time divided by 5, if it's in the days field, you're probably going to be about every 5 days. Now granted, you won't get like the 31st, but you might get some weird days. It might go 31, 32, and you get it on the 4th, and then on the 2nd, and then on the, you know, on the beginning of the month, and then your 5 days are all off. But it is saying every 5 days. All possible values every 5 days. Or minutes in this case.
By placing an asterisk for each of these fields, we select every hour of every day of every month. When you put all the fields together, the expression is read as the first second of every 5th minute of every hour of every day of every month. You can create a timer trigger in the Azure portal.
Okay, so we got another quiz here. It's a 1-question quiz. They're just trying to see if I'm paying attention. What is the correct order of the fields in a cron expression? Second, minutes, hours, day, month, week, day of the week. No. Oh, it is day of the week. Month, day of the week. Month, week, day of the week. It's just weird. Why doesn't it just say day of the week? Week, day of the week. Seconds, minutes, hour, day, month, week, day of the week.
In your Azure Function app, select Timer Trigger from the list of trigger templates. Enter the logic that you want to execute. Supply a timestamp parameter name and the cron expression. In this lesson, we'll focus on creating triggers in the Azure portal, but you can also create triggers programmatically using Core Tools, Visual Studio, or Visual Studio Code. A timer trigger invokes an Azure function app on a consistent schedule. To define the schedule for a timer trigger, we build a cron expression, which is a string that represents a set of times.
It's like it says you can do. It says you can do these in Visual Studio Code, but it's like there's not much going on there. Why would you do it? I mean, you probably wouldn't do a timer function that way. That's probably more advanced things you can do with a trigger. I'd have to see examples of more advanced triggers. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how this one plays out, because now we're going to do create a timer trigger using C#. I got a thing with my sinuses. As you know, you may know if you saw in my other videos, last week I had a cold, and I mean, as far as my head goes and the tired and the exhaustion that came with it, that's all gone. But I still have it clearing out the junk, and it's not making my nose run, which is, you know, like a cold normally does. It's creating the junk that your nose would run, but it's putting it in my sinuses. So it's not in my throat or in my mouth or in my nose. It's like behind. So every now and then I'm breathing and I have it moving around. It's driving me nuts. So every now and then you'll hear me start talking funny as I'm trying to figure out how to clear my sinus passages. I don't know. It's what a pain. All right. Well, I mean, I'm not a big PowerShell guy, so my thought is let's use C#. Let's just see what a C# trigger is going to look like. All right, exercise. Create a timer trigger. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I hate these. Okay, so look at this. Microsoft Learn has one of these verifies. You know, normally you enter one or two things. This one goes on and on and on. It's like 20 different things you need to select. And you'll select them and it'll say you need 5. And you'll do 5. 5 times you have to do it. And then it says, okay, now give us 10. This is such an annoying, this is like the most annoying verification I have ever seen in my life. Pick one square that shows 2 identical objects. So that says 2 identical, but it's got this third item. That has 2 identical, but it's got another set of 2 identicals. None of these, I mean, this is probably the closest one, right? I mean, these aren't identical, right? They're different colors. And these are identical, but there's a third one in it. None of these are identical at all. So which is it? The 2 different colored ones? Or the same 2 colored with a third item? What's identical here? These are identical. Pick one square that shows 2 identical. So this would be 2 identical items. These are identical, but they're different colors. And what's that? That's, I don't know, 2 identicals, maybe? And then watch, I'm only doing 5, but watch it. Watch, it's going to tell me to do more. Okay, and then look. These are 2 identical that are different colors, but there is no other option. So it has to be that one. See? And then it tells you you're wrong. Well, no kidding. It's like, these are identical, these are not. Well, maybe you stop sticking third items in there or different colored items in there. Okay, so these are identical, but they're not the same color. This is a pain in the rear. It's really hard to pass this correctly. I guess these are identical, different colors again. These are identical, different colors. But these are identical, same colors. Different colors. And oh, see? Oh, these are different colors. Oh my gosh, that's like the first time ever that I've passed that. That is the most annoying thing. Those are not identical, by the way, Microsoft. If they're different colors, they are not identical. Their definition of identical is apparently different from mine. Sign into the Azure portal using the same account. Yeah, well, no kidding. Under Azure Services, create a resource. All right, well, let's go home. Create a resource. In the Create a Resource menu, select Web. Let's move this over here. And then select Function App, which we are doing. I already have a Function App. Can't I use the one I have? Because we're not using that stuff anymore. On the Function App pane that appears, select Create. The Create Function App appears. I think I'm just going to use the one I have. I have a Function App. I'm going to use this one. And then it's going to tell you what to do. So it's got concierge subscription, blah, 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 Node.js, select location, Windows, create and configure a timer triggered function. Let's create a timer trigger function. In the Function App menu, select Functions tab in the center of the screen. Let's close that. There we got Functions tab, all right. Select the Create in Azure portal, which I kind of have. Under Select a Template, select Timer Trigger. Timer Trigger. All right. Under Template Details, enter the following. This is what, every 20 minutes? Yep. Oh, the first place value represents every 20 seconds. Oh, it's the first one. Yeah. All right. Test the timer. Now that we've configured the timer, it will invoke the function on the interval we defined. So we got to create it. So now my function is different from this function because they're just using a default function which says, put in a name or whatever. Mine has extra code in it, but that's okay. It should function the same. Now that we configured the timer, it will invoke the function on the interval we defined. On the timer trigger pane on the left menu, under Developer, select Code Test. The Code Test pane appears. The log session pane opens at the bottom. Select the App Insights Logs drop-down menu. Yep. And then select File System Logs. Click OK. Function ran. Woohoo! Executed function. That's it, man. That's all it is. Observe that the new message arrives every 20 seconds. To stop the function, select Stop in the Logs pane command bar. To disable the function in the timer trigger menu, select Overview, then select Display the command bar. Disable. Display. To disable the function in the timer trigger 1 menu, select Overview. Overview? I think it's just this button. Disable. They put a lot of stuff just on this page now. There isn't a overview option. They're not grouping things quite so granularly now. All right, let's go on to the next thing. Execute an Azure function with an HTTP request. Okay. So we're going to do a different trigger. Trigger time. Dun, 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 dun. Watcher of rounds. Let's see. An HTTP request is common. In this unit, we'll learn how to do that. An HTTP trigger is a trigger that executes code when it receives an HTTP request. Providing authorization access by supplying keys, restrict with HTTP verbs, returning data back to caller, receive data. HTTP trigger authorization level is a flag that indicates whether an incoming HTTP request needs an API key for authorization. There are 3 authorization levels. I kind of like the idea of an API key because we don't want just anybody sending HTTP requests to your system. That could be a problem. The function and admin levels are key-based. To send an HTTP request, you must supply a key for authorization. There are 2 types of keys, function and host. The difference between the 2 keys is their scope. Function key are specific to a function. Host keys apply to all functions inside the function app. You know, I would also just think you would only allow certain types of commands. You know, it's like if it's not, you know, X or Y or Z, then you don't even run the process. You say, nope, doesn't match. Oh boy, I'm tired I got to bed a little late, got up a little too early. Okay, the functions and admin levels are key-based. The anonymous level means that the authorization is required. How to create an HTTP? We already did an HTTP trigger earlier. Just like a timer trigger, you can create an HTTP trigger through the Azure portal inside your Azure functions, select HTTP trigger. Let's go back here. And then we're going to go my functions. I already have an HTTP trigger. We already did that once. How to invoke an HTTP trigger? To invoke an HTTP trigger, you send an HTTP request to the URL for your function. To get the URL, go to the code page for your function and select get function URL. See, I already did all this stuff. That's part of those HTTP trigger I created before. After you have URL for function, you can send a request. All right, well, let's see if this one's at least different. Is it at least different? Well, let's continue using our existing functions app and an HTTP trigger. Make sure you're signed in. Select your function app identified under type, column. Your function app pane appears. Select function tab. Already on it. Select the create button. All right, we can do that. I'll create another HTTP, I guess. Select template HTTP trigger because we're doing it twice. In the details. Select create button at the top of the function tab. This action starts the function function app page appears. Select function create. Select trigger. Scroll down on the authorization level down. Wait. Oh. Select anonymous. We're going to do anonymous. And select create. So this is different a little bit. In the left menu page under developer, select code test and review the code, generated code to get an idea of what is going on. The rec parameter represents the incoming request and contains a name parameter. See, name. Pass a name in the query string. So this is basically the same thing we just did. It's not even a different function. Now that you've created an HTTP trigger, let's get the function URL. On the top menu bar, select get function URL. which is what I did before. And URL was copy to clipboard. Just basically the same. Let's issue GET request. Issue a GET request HTTP trigger. Let's issue a GET request for the URL to see if we get a response. Open a new tab in your web browser. Paste the URL into the address bar. Name equals Mr. Man. Hello, Mr. Man. The HTTP trigger function executed successfully. All done. Continue on to the next thing. Execute an Azure function when a blob is created. Okay, so I don't even know what. Sorry, I get this stupid sinusy thing. Gosh dang it. I clear my sinuses out. I don't know what's worse. Having my nose running all the time or having my sinuses plugging up all the time. Okay. I can kind of breathe again. Guess we'll find out if that's enough. Sorry about that. Hopefully my mic was not very good. Mic was not picking up from 4 feet away, but what a pain. All right. So now you have an idea about that. Let's go see a blob one. I haven't done a blob one. What is a blob storage? I mean, what's the purpose of blob storage? That's designed to store large amounts of unstructured data. For example, Azure Blob Storage is great at doing things like storing files, serving files, streaming video and audio, logging data. There are 3 types of blobs: block blobs, append blobs, and page blobs. Block blobs are the most common type. They allow you to store text or binary data efficiently. Append blobs are like block blobs, but they're designed more for append operations like creating a log file that's being constantly updated. Finally, page blobs are made up of pages and are designed for frequent random read and write operations. I mean, I guess I can kind of see when you would use those. They all sound good. But why would you use those over just like, say, just getting data? I guess it's better when you just have large chunks of whatever. A blob trigger is a trigger that executes function when you upload a file into the Azure Blob Storage. Functions periodically checks a storage. There are ways to reduce this latency when triggering a blob container. To create a blob trigger, you create an Azure storage account and provide a location that triggers and monitors. So we're going to create I guess we're going to create a blob trigger, so we might have to create a storage account. I have a storage account, but it's not a blob. It's not a blob storage account. I created one just regular because that's where I was going to put my website. I don't know if I can create 2 storages. I may have to kill one. I don't know what I'm allowed to do with some of this freebie Azure stuff. Ooh, it's 71 degrees out. I mean, it's warm around here. I know some places you're like 71. That was the middle of the night cool-off period. It's getting cold down here. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Broncos are going to win this year, right? Well, sure. How are they going to win more than 5? Yeah, I hope so. They're going to win more than 10. Oh, that'd be nice, but we'll see. Is Bo Nix all that? I guess we'll find out. Payton says he's doing all right, which I guess is good, but we are, what, in May? How much have they even played yet? Okay, let's just go create a blob trigger. All right, so, oh no. No, don't make me do it again. Oh, I'm not doing it again. Screw you. I don't know why. It doesn't even remember that from page to page that I'm still on here. That's so stupid. I don't even know what that's for. Okay, let's continue using your existing Azure Functions application and add a blob trigger. Let's do that. Why don't we just do that? All right. Guess I don't even know what some of these are. Close some of this chunk up. Oh yeah, I was studying some things I needed to clarify in my head. Hi. Sign into the Azure portal. I got that. I got that covered. Under Azure Services, select all resources. I can do that. I got that too. Select your function app identified under. Well, let's just go back here. And then I'm already here. That's my function app. Hello, function app. Let's see. Select functions. Got it. Create. Got it. And now we're going to go do. Select a template. Select Azure Blob Storage Trigger. Azure Blob Storage Trigger. If you see a message saying extension not installed, select install. Don't see that. Select the create button at the top of the function tab. Click select dependency install and take. Oh, wait until it's under template details. Accept the default value for the new function field. Accept the default value for the path field. Under the storage account connection drop-down list, select the new link, the new storage account connection dialog box. Select the storage account for this function app and then select OK. Oh, new link. That's all I got. Must be the one. Select create to create the function. All right, let's do it. And we kind of sort of might be working. Looks good, looks good. Create the blob container. Now that we've created a blob trigger, let's use storage browser to create a blob and trigger the function. Open the storage account you used in a new tab. All right, so I got my storage. In the Azure portal, under Azure Services, select All Resources. The All Resources pane appears. Select your storage account. Identified under Type, storage account pane name appears. In the middle menu pane, select Storage Browser. Middle menu Storage Browser? I don't see storage browser. In the Azure portal, under Azure Services, select your storage. In the middle menu pane, select the storage browser. The storage browser pane appears where you can work with blobs and files. Blob service. Well, none of these look like storage browsers. I don't see a storage browser. Is that here? Storage. I'm probably looking right at it again. Where is this thing? Upload, open and explore. Do I see, am I missing it? Am I staring right at it? Control F. Storage browser. Nope. Oh, there it is. Storage browser. It's off to the left. Okie dokie. That's not where it said it was going to be. It said the middle pane. Although it was right at the top. There's just too many things to look at if you don't know where you're looking, right? Storage browser. Okay, so we're in the storage browser. Storage browser in the middle of the pane. Storage browser pane appears where you can work with. The blob trigger is monitoring only the location described in the path field. By default, your path should be samples work item name. The path field. The middle pane is like storage browser. Blob trigger is monitoring only the location described in the path field. By default, your path field. To create a container called sample work items, select the blobs containers. Then select add container. And then select the new container pane appears. The name field, enter samples dash work items. Accept the default private settings and then click create. All right, so we're up there. Now that we've created our container monitor, let's run our function so we can see output when blob is created. Switch back to the browser that has the browser tab that has this. In the left middle pane under developer, select code test, did that. Expand the logs, drop down, select system file logs. Okay. All right, now we're going to create a blob. Our blob trigger is now up and listening for activity. Let's create a blob to see if we can get a log message. Switch back to the browser tab with storage browser. In the top menu bar, select list. In the authentication method, link at the top of the list, select switch to access key. Okay, so we're here. Where's that? In the authentication method, switch to Microsoft Intro user. Oh, it is access key. In the top menu bar, select upload. The upload blob opens. From the files menu, select any file from your computer. Okie dokie. Seems like a good thing to upload might be, let's say, some product. Why not? Because maybe I'll use this to upload all my product images. That makes sense, right? Select upload. Did it actually select it? Oh, I did. Okay. Switch back to the Azure function tab and check the output logs for messages. No trace in the past 10 minutes. Past 1 minute. Wait, what? That's not what I expected to see. Did Did I do something? Did I miss something? Oh, it says it's there, so it should have something. Blob trigger, if you select test run, from the top menu bar and then select run on the function pane, it might result in an error due to the default value that is specified in the test request body. You'll need to change the path from input tab in the request body pane to a valid file for the test to run successfully. I don't see anything happen, but it does appear to have actually put it in, right? Because it did the thing. Am I on the right one? No, it's blob trigger 1. Switch back to the Azure function tab and check the output logs of the message that displays which file was uploaded. I wonder if I needed to do it like this one instead. Or maybe I'm looking at the wrong logs. Let's see. So output logs. Maybe they're different. To be honest, I'm not seeing, I mean, it doesn't show it, but when I go to the other page, it shows it, so I know it worked. But this guy doesn't seem to be showing anything. All right, let's try another one. I don't mind uploading again. Let's upload. All right, so my trigger is not firing is what's happening. Whatever happened, it is uploading it because it goes here and says, yeah, we're good to go. So we're successfully uploading it, but we're not getting any trigger response. No new trace the past 1 minute. So we're not actually happening. Something is not doing its thing. Let's see. Switch back to browser tab, sample work item, authentication menu link at the top. Top menu, select upload. The upload blob pane appears. Select upload. Switch back to Azure function tab and check the upload logs for a message that displays which file was uploaded. See, there's no message. It's not telling me that we have an uploaded file because it's not uploading anything. My blob trigger 1 is not doing anything. So let's see here. Let's see, we go to all right, maybe I went to the wrong upload. Maybe I was supposed to use this upload. Select your blob trigger functions, expand insight, switching to trigger, switch back to the browser tab with storage browser. In storage browser, select the sample work items container. In the games, the switch upload, and then in the top menu bar. No, this is different. What did I do wrong? Turn on your blob trigger. Switch back to the browser tab with Azure function on it. Select your blob trigger in the functions tab. Maybe I don't have it on. In the left menu, under developer, select code test. Expand the logs. Select app insight logs and select file system, which I did. Select OK. Yeah, message displays. Good. Now our trigger is up and running, it says. Now we go back here. And check the output log for a message that displays which file was uploaded. So we gotta go here. Okay, oops. In the storage, select a sample work items container from the work items list. Well, this is my container. Storage browser. In storage browser, select the sample in a container. Oh, is there a container I'm missing here? Maybe I'm missing a step. Oh no, this is sample work items. No, this is the right one. In the authentication method, link at the top. Okay, well there's not a switched access key because this is already set to access key. There's not like another authentication method. It just says access key. I can switch to intra user account, but I'm not doing that. In the menu bar, select upload. The upload blob panes appears. So I am doing that. And then from the files menu field, select any file from your computer. Okay, try that again. Let's just, I don't know, I guess I can go with something a little more lame. Oh, my Frosthaven highlight stock. And then select upload. Switch back to the Azure function tab and check the output log. I'm not getting anything, man. Not getting anything at all. I mean, I'm getting this, but this is not a... It's already on verbose. This is not firing. Space which file has uploaded. See, this is just telling me, yeah, we got stuff running, but it's not, just not seeing anything new. It's not, my trigger's not firing, man. If you select text run from the top menu bar and then select run on the function pane, it might result in an error. It's not doing anything. This is broken. I did something wrong. I don't know what, but I did something wrong. Okay, I gotta step away for a few minutes. I'll be back shortly. All right. So things have not gone as smoothly as I had hoped. I completed the 2 trigger creations. As you can see, though, I've had my log running here, but nothing's happening. So something is not triggering my trigger. I wonder if I should try different. What if I let's see, it doesn't actually ask me to choose one of these. Blobs extension system key. Okay, so you must direct network access to order run your function. Your app may be restricted with private endpoints. So we got to figure out why. Did I skip a step? Did there something I missed? So I got code test. I'm going to stop this trigger for a moment because it's just taking up resources. Okay, so sign in to the Azure portal using the same account. Create button, select template, Azure blob, storage trigger. And if I go here, let's create a new one. Let's just go here, we'll create Azure blob storage trigger. Now, I go here, I go next. Storage account. I wonder if I did the wrong storage when I added this. So if I was here, what if I go home here? And then I go to storage. Containers. I open up. No, I'm in the right storage. Switch to intra. These are the items I'm adding. I'm over here. Over here. Template, accept the default path, storage account connection, drop down, select new. In the new storage account connection dialog box, select the storage account for this function app and then select OK. Did that. Create a blob container. Open the storage account you used in a new tab. Select your storage account identified, and then in the middle of the menu pane, select storage browser. The storage browser pane appears where you can work with blob files. Storage browser. And then we're going to create one called sample work items, which is what I've got. Which is interesting. It says I have no container here, but I did create one in here. Storage browser. We got in the middle of the menu find the storage browser. The blob trigger is monitoring only the location described in the path field. By default, your path should be samples work items / name. To create a container called samples work items. I wonder if that's a problem, my blob trigger. Here's the path. Do I need to put a name in here? Path, samples, work items, / name. Okay. I did samples, work items, and that's what I created here. Samples, work items. Samples - work items. Select the blob container, then select add container. The new container pane appears. In the name field, enter samples work items. I'm trying to see if there's any chance I spelled it wrong, but there's only so many samples - work items. Accept the default private setting in the public access field. Accept the default private. Then create. I did that, so we're there. Now that we've created our container to monitor, let's run our function so we can see our output when a blob is created. Switch back to the browser tab. Why did it say storage? Why is it saying AMG storage? AZ204 storage AMG, but that's not what it's called. I mean, because that's the name of my browser or my storage. AZ204 storage AMG. See, AZ204 storage AMG. I don't know why it has storage as an underline there. That's weird. Okay. So we're back here. Turning on file system logs. So again, switching to file system log, file system base logs, message space, create a blob. Switch back to the browser. Then we click upload. In storage browser, select the samples work items. Okay, then we upload. And then we pick a file. And then we'll do goals progress sheet. I don't even know what that is. Oh, I don't want that. Let's put my resume up. And we will upload. Now it's up there. See, it's not triggering. And I am access key. I mean, it's putting it up here, but and then you select upload. Upload block pane appears. Also, select upload. Switch back to Azure Functions tab and check the output logs for messages, and then display which file was uploaded. That display of files, let's see, but there's nothing. Doesn't matter how I look at these. AZ204 storage, AMG. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, folks. I did exactly like they said, but in the authentication method, I did all this. It's just like it's not working. It's not triggering this blob trigger. So am I missing something? Samples work items name. Do I need to put in something value here? Path samples work items / name. So it's every time name is my blob. But what we're not doing is actually firing this thing. What if I just run it here? See, that says work item.txt. Is this function? See, it's not actually working. Because even this should have ran and put something up there, right? I mean, something should have shown up. Maybe I don't. Maybe was I supposed to put code in here? Maybe I missed something. I forgot to put code in my blob trigger. Let's go back a step. True, I didn't do this dumb thing, but I don't think that's going to do anything. See, none of these tell you to replace name. Let's see. Let's break down the concept into two places: samples, work items, and name. The second part, name, means that every type of file will cause the trigger to invoke the function. Oh, okay. Function is invoked because there's no filter. For example, we could make the trigger invoke the function only when PNG file is added by using a syntax like name PNG. The last significant information for this concept is the text name. The name represents a parameter in your Azure function that receives the name of the added file. For example, if we upload a file named resume.txt, which I did, my Azure function receives that value of the strong parameter name called name. A blob trigger invokes an Azure function when it sees activity at a specific location. You set the location to monitor for modifying the path in the Azure portal. Okay, I did. It's monitoring. It should have said something. I don't want to do this again because this is stupid. They make me do it twice. But see, there's no consequence. I mean, it's like it doesn't do anything. It's just like, okay, so I still see the page. You can duplicate a tab in most browsers by right-clicking the tab. Oh, I'm not worried about that. So I've got it set up like it says, turn on the blob trigger. Now that we've created a container Bob trigger, switch back to the browser with Azure function in it. Select your Bob trigger in the Functions tab in the center. Under Development, select Code Test. Expand the Logs tab at the bottom. Select OK with switch. Because I go here, it says select the App Insights log dropdown and then select File System Logs, which is what is showing. Select OK when switching to File System Logs message displays. And then create a blob, which is what I did. Switching back, storage, samples, work items, containers list. In the authentication, which in top of the menu, select upload. Select the files field, select any file, and upload. Switch back. And even when I run it, it doesn't like, is it supposed to write something? The log is supposed to say something, and it's not doing anything. I feel like there's something missing. Like maybe it is working, but there's no output. Maybe it's not doing the output right. That's what I'm feeling like. There's like missing output. I see a feature here. Huh. It's samples work items. That's what I created with the name. Blob trigger. But it's not doing anything. The logs aren't showing nothing. Is there like another? Let's see what if I go here. Something somewhere, somehow, some way. I mean, it should work the same. What is live metrics? Do I even have live metrics? Is that even allowed? Well, it's gotta, I mean, this should be simple, right? I mean, this really isn't a... Blob function, blob trigger. Shouldn't be that hard, man. See, things just don't work like you expect them to here. So, it's a, you are running function as code plus test panel 1. And then I go to insights and click here. We hit OK. We're on file system log, but nothing happens, man. There's no log occurring. I don't know what to say. I can run this all day long. I've uploaded how many things already? And it is not samples work items. And my AZ storage AMG is the name of the account. And I go back here. Let's see what the stream says. I'm sure it's got some kind of default words. Makes it incredibly easy to react to new blobs inside of Azure blob storage. This sample demonstrates a simple use case. For a blob trigger to work, you provide a path which dictates where the blobs are located inside your container, and it can also help restrict the types of blobs you wish to return. For instance, you can set the path to PNG. So it's basically the same thing that I just read. But it's the name of the file. Learn more documentation. So that doesn't, but when you go to index doesn't have anything on it. Module experts, JavaScript, blob trigger, blah, 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 blah. And then we go here. We got AZ204 storage AMG. That's the name of the storage it's in. I got sample work items /game, which is our name. I'm just at a stump because this isn't working. I'm here, and this is. Let's copy this. Go back here. I'll paste it in here. Again, I don't see how that's going to make any difference because I didn't change anything. Now we're going to go upload. And then we're going to go pick a file again. I'm uploading all kinds of goodies. Let's go with the resume again. Did I already do a resume? Oh, I did. Could overwrite it. Don't care. Don't need to do that. Let's see. Landlord Tycoon valuation. That was a mobile game. I don't even know how I ended up with that file. Why would I have that? Oh, I know. Okay, so Landlord Tycoon. It had fixed values. I noticed a trend, so I put them in a spreadsheet and proved that every value in there is nonsense. The whole game is nonsense. People are buying stuff and going through it. It had calculated results. Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. I was like, this doesn't seem right. No matter how much you buy or how much you sell or what you did, it was just always like going to go up at the same pace, the same exact numbers. And they use big enough numbers and wide enough spots that you're like, a person could be fooled by it for a while, and then you're like, wait a minute. So I put in a spreadsheet to prove the fact, and it turns out the whole thing is basically a fixed, just random numbers crap. Yeah. Well, doesn't work. Or at least my logging isn't working. I could go like, let's go to AZ Home here. And let's see if there's an application insights. Let's just go to application, not here, but I just want to go to like, application insights. See if anything's happened recently. Diagnose solve problems. Activity log. Nope. Transaction search. Nope. Okay, so I thought maybe there'd be something more information here. Just to see if there's another way, like maybe that functions logs weren't showing it, but there's like nothing. I don't even know what this is. Metadata? all kinds of nonsense here. Well, you can get really into the weeds with this stuff. But browser timing, custom dependencies. Huh. All right, well, so much for that. Thought maybe this would give me more info than it does, but it doesn't. And go back to functions. My storage doesn't have squat. I mean, it's showing my items in here that I uploaded, but what it doesn't show is, see, this is all the stuff I've been uploading, but it's not triggering my triggers. And I don't know why my triggers don't want to function. My function triggers don't want to trigger. Functions don't want to function. Blob trigger 1. See, it hasn't even been invoked. It should be getting invoked. I don't know why. Why I've got this set up wrong, or what I'm doing wrong. Step by stepped it, man. And I go look at my function, and this is what it's looking at. AZ204 storage AMG. Samples dash work items. That's what I created. It's supposed to be firing, but as you can see, nothing. Now if I, so like I know the invocations, like if I go look at my HTTP trigger 1, I go here, it'll show me, oh, well, I guess it won't. Thought it would. Oh, results may be delayed for 5 minutes. Wait, what? Maybe. Oh, I guess it does delete them after you use them. I thought it would have. I mean, even logs don't go back that far. It's only things that you're running right now. Body response message. Because I can go here and run test. And this one, is this the one I just ran? No, I used the other one, I think. See, this proves that it executed right here, see? Executed, all good and going. And, but when I do it with the other one, even my blob trigger 1, then I go to run test. So it should kick something out that says something along the lines of something work item test. It doesn't care. It's just going to send this back. But if I go down here and turn this on and then say run, nothing's happening. It's like it's not, it's supposed to show it, but in fact it does not. Look. No HTTP response. I feel like there should be something there. I think it might be how this is written. I don't know, like their sample doesn't give you an actual return value, but they think it does. So I created it, but it doesn't have a response value.
How long does it take to replace that bulb in my car?
Oh, it won't take you but a few minutes. Well, you just got to get the back light off, and then it just you unplug it, and then you stick the new one in, and the biggest trick will get that back light off, or back thing off. You'll probably have to open your trunk. Yeah, I'll give you help. All right, I'm gonna take a break.